Hey everyone, my name is Elisa and I work at Connections Early Years Family Center as a registered early childhood educator. You will most likely see me in the EarlyON. However, I do facilitate a program at the center called Kids Have Stress Too. In that program, we discuss strategies on how to help children cope better with stress. And one of those strategies is mindfulness. So in today's video, I'm going to share with you some simple at-home activities that you can do with your children related to mindfulness. And I think it's really important, especially during a time like this. So before I talk about those activities, I want to briefly talk about what mindfulness is. So mindfulness is paying attention on purpose in the present moment. Now I know that sounds pretty simple, but sometimes that's hard to put into practice. So let's say, for example, you're reading a book to your child and you finish that book and you realize, wow, I have absolutely no idea what that story was about. That's okay. It happens to all of us. It's really hard sometimes to be in the present moment. What I like to do to help me be in the present moment is as soon as I notice that my mind has drifted off, which it will happen, I like to tune into my senses. So I ask myself, what is something that I can see right now? What is something I can hear? What is something I can smell? What is something that I'm feeling in my body? And that usually helps me focus back to what I'm doing. So that's just a little tip that I like to share. Okay, so how do we explain mindfulness to children? Well, the great thing is that children are naturally mindful. If you notice, when a child is playing, they are fully engaged in their activity. They're not thinking about, oh, what am I going to have for dinner? Or what book am I going to read right before bed? They're not thinking about the past. They're not thinking about the future. They're really just focused on what they're doing. And it's such a beautiful thing to see. Okay, so now that we know a little bit about what mindfulness is, I'm going to share with you 10 very simple activities that you can do at home with your children. I'm only going to mention 10. There are a lot more activities that we can do, so I will provide a link that you guys can check out after, and there's a lot more activities on that link. Okay, so the first activity is bubbles. So if you have bubbles at home, it really helps to explain how to take a few deep breaths in and out. So when you are about to blow that bubble, you tell your child, okay, we're going to take a deep breath in. We're going to inhale through our nose and out. And we're going to blow that bubble away. So again, it really explains how to take deep breaths. Another great activity related to bubbles, and this is if your child is older and they want to share their worries with you, is what I like to call worry bubbles. So you can tell your child, okay, we're going to talk about our worries. Once we talk about them, we're going to put them in our bubbles. And when we blow up the bubbles, our worries will drift away and they'll pop. So it's a fun activity to do with children. The second activity that I'm going to talk about is you can go outside, you can grab a blanket, lay down and look at the clouds and talk about the different shapes that you can see. And that one's a fun one because it's pretty funny to hear what some of the ideas that children come up with. The third activity is to help children notice. So you can take out some pots and some pans and some spoons, and you can have the children drum away. So you can have them drum really loud and then really soft. And ask them when they notice that the sound has disappeared. So it's a fun game to play and they're tuning into their senses. So the fourth activity is to explore texture in nature. So go for a walk outside, especially now you want to get outside. And on your walk, you can gather some different objects and describe how they feel, describe what they look like. Even when you are going for a walk, you can describe what you're hearing, the birds, maybe some dogs are barking. So really exploring on your walk together. The fifth activity is to explore smell. And you can do that by inviting your children to help you cook in the kitchen. So as you're cooking your meal, you're talking about all the different smells that you are smelling together. The sixth activity is what we call buddy breathing, and it's very similar to bubbles and how we explain deep breathing. So you can have your child lay down and ask them to place their favorite stuffed animal or their favorite toy on their belly. And when you ask them to take a deep breath in, that toy is going to go out, or that stuffed animal, and then it's going to go back down. So again, it's just for them to see and notice what's happening when they're taking deep breaths. Number 7, this one is mindful snacks. So when you're having a snack with your child, again, describing the texture of the food, the smell, really savoring it. So enjoying it as much as possible, and just really describing what you're eating and what it tastes like. Number 8 is what we call squeeze and go. So asking your child to squeeze all of their muscles as tight as they can and then release. And you can ask them to do this a few times. And this really is to help children notice what's happening in their body. Number 9 is to ask your child a weather report on how they're feeling. So you can give an example of, today I'm feeling cloudy and dark with a few raindrop tears. I know that's a pretty sad example, but it's a fun way for children to describe how they're feeling. Or I'm feeling sunny and happy today. Okay, and the last mindful activity is to send positive wishes to people that we may know. So you can ask your child to maybe pick 5 people, and you can do this on a daily basis. So pick 5 people that you would like to send positive wishes to. Maybe they want to draw it out, or just to talk about what wishes they would like to send to people. So I'd like to end this video with a quote, because I love quotes. So in today's world, we all think too much, seek too much, want too much, and forget about the joy of just being. I hope you all enjoyed this video on mindful activities that we can do with our children. And I want to say thank you for connecting with us.